To say goodbye to 2016, I decided to review Shatterhand, a game I actually wanted to play again for a while now, but just didn't feel the time was right. Well, now the time feels good. That, and I've had people ask me where I got the theme for my review intros from. Well, here, this might help answer that question. Shatterhand was one of my favorite NES games, and I still remember the first time I played it. My friend Donnie let me borrow it. Remember those days when your friends would just trade games with you? I miss those days. Anyway, I played the hell out of it. I still remember giving it back to him and saying that I completed it. And he was like, "What? You finished it?" I owned the game and never beat it. At the time, I didn't think the game was that difficult, but for some reason I really struggled this time around. But before I go too far, I should talk about the story. At least, I normally would, but I really don't know what it is. The only thing you get in the beginning of the game is some dude in green with cool shades bum rushing some guy shooting at him. Then BAM! In the face! When you hit the start button on the title screen, you warp into the first stage and get to listen to some of the best music ever. Seriously, I love the music of this game. But I keep getting ahead of myself. Back to the story. I really don't know. All I know is that after every stage, you fight a boss, then choose a new area. Are you a bioterror agent? That's what I would assume since you fight humanoid creatures and in some stages mutant-like enemies. I'm not going to pretend to know or even come up with anything. But the only thing you do need to know is that Shatterhand is an action game in which your primary means of attack are your fists. Here's how the game plays out. As I said, you attack by beating your enemies into submission. Pressing B throws a punch. By mashing B multiple times, your character will throw 3 jabs and then every subsequent attack is a more powerful attack. It looks like a hook to me. But that's not the only offensive ability you have, if you didn't notice. There's also the bot buddies you can grab. Let me dwell on those for a bit. As you play, you'll find crates. These crates can be destroyed to reveal a small variety of objects. You can find standard coins worth 50 gold and large ones worth 200. There are bags which can be punched for coins until they disappear. You can find grenades which will detonate shortly after revealing them to cause damage. But what you're really going to be looking for are the blocks of letters. You'll notice that they have either an alpha or a beta symbol on them. When you collect one, they'll be shown on the top of the screen. When you collect 3 letters, you'll summon a little robot that will follow you and do the huge favor of attacking enemies whenever you throw a punch. There are 8 possible combinations, and each one has different weapons. Some robots are definitely more useful than others. Don't get me wrong, all of them have their potential use, but personally, I usually stuck with a grenader, the sword wielder, or the one that fired laser beams. Some of them, like the flamethrower or one that fires plasma blasts upwards, feel nearly useless. These robots do have their own life bar, which is hidden from view. You'll know that they're close to death when they start flashing red. Now, this bot is a nice addition to the genre, and makes the game feel a bit more unique. But they do have more uses too. For one, you can use them to fly. It's not used often and is never required to finish a stage, since there will be times where you're running around without a partner. But say there's an area you missed but want to get back up to it. You can crouch down and hold A to fly upwards. From here, you can just release A to drop back down, or press B to literally throw your robot away. It'll come back after a few seconds. This throw is actually useful tactically if you're surrounded by enemies and don't want your robot to take unnecessary damage. In addition, there's a little bonus if you collect the same combination of letters twice in a row. First, I'll say that if you ever want to change what robot you have following you, you just collect the letters for the robot you want. Once you grab 3, the robot will disappear and be replaced by the one summoned by whatever combination you have. But even better, collect the robot, then get those letters a second time while the robot is still alive, and it will fuse with you for a few seconds, shown by the counter at the top of the screen. It shows 15 seconds, but counts down much slower than that. If you take damage in this form, the timer will deplete quicker. But why do you want this? Well, other than the invulnerability, you also now throw extremely powerful fireballs that can take down bosses with just a few hits. So if you're able to time the collection of letters so that you grab the 6th one right before the boss's teleporter, you can take the boss down with ease. Plus, the advantage to this is that it also replenishes your robot's health. Plus, you get to keep the same one. So if you like the grenade robot, just keep collecting 3 betas, and you'll be set. So what about those coins? Well, along the stages you may find 3 different power platforms. These consist of a power, health, and extra life platform. The health and extra life ones are pretty self-explanatory. The power one turns your shirt red and allows your character to hit what seems to be twice as hard. Although there's no time limit on this power-up, if you get hit 3 times, your attack strength reverts back to its normal level. So when you grab the red shirt, you're definitely going to want to preserve it for as long as you possibly can. Other than those, the game is normal action stuff. You complete the first level, but then you can choose between any 5 of the next ones. After all of those are cleared, you have access to the final stage. There is no password system, but the game is easily completable in about an hour. You also have infinite continues. Now, the game's difficulty is pretty average, but I was struggling in the final stage. I don't remember doing so when I played it as a kid. Maybe as I get older my skills are decreasing. Oh well. In any case, I already mentioned how badass the music of the first stage is. And it's that way for the entire game. I still get some of the music stuck in my head every once in a while. Even the stage select theme is worth just sitting there for. Hell, I even love the dramatic game over music. Overall, Natsume and the composers did a hell of a job with the music. The graphics are equally as good. Everything is detailed well. Your character, the robot companions, the enemies. I don't even remember seeing any bare backgrounds. Everything has at least some color and definition put to it. Overall, it just shows what the NES could put out. Of course, this also shows that it's a game put out in the later years of the NES's lifespan. The only thing I don't get is why it takes so long between dying and starting a new life. When dying, your character gets flung backwards. A few seconds later, the bot, if it's still alive, disappears. Then a few seconds later, the music finally fades out and you respawn. It's really a minor complaint, but one I just need to voice. Shatterhand is a game that should be played by anyone that's a fan of NES games. It's easily one of my favorite games on the system. If you get an opportunity to play it, or can find it for a decent price, which is getting more difficult recently, definitely give it a chance. Final score? 10 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.